What's up?
Alexander Lincoln, thank you for coming back. I requested this time and you were gracious enough to do it. You have some big matches coming up. On March 16th, a big deal. You're going to be facing Rhyno at the Crimson Clash. Tell me a little bit about getting that set up in your hometown of Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, no, and thanks again for having me. I enjoy doing this and enjoying talking about wrestling in general. So, yeah, we have been talking about coming to Tuscaloosa. New Era has for several years, and I don't know why it's taken this long, but finally the stars aligned. Everything worked out for us to have kind of a I guess it's a special show or a pop-up show. Um, Rhino was going to be available. He's doing some other shows in Alabama and had availability Sunday. And so it was kind of when we found out there was opportunity to have Rhino be a part of the show, we just kind of made it happen. And so we've got a really great, it's an outdoor venue, but it's a covered pavilion. It's really nice. I think it's going to be a really great place. And I think the hope is that if we can get a nice crowd and have a good showing, that we could try to do something more regular in Tuscaloosa. I think, we New Era made a move. We did a show in Hoover late last year with a lot of success, and so to kind of spread the wings a little bit, we feel like we have a really good product with a lot of good talent, and so we want to get it in front of many people as we can.
Yeah, it's exciting that Rhino's coming, but now you got to fight him, and that seems to be the big issue here. It's like,
Surprise!
great, you got what you asked for. He's
Congratulations.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
How are you preparing for that?
Well, I will first say, there's and not everybody would approach things like this, but the way I approach it is, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Rhino, the former ECW world champ, NWA world champ, WWE United States champion. He's been a tag team champion everywhere he's been, TNA Hall of Famer. I mean, just on and on and on and on. And there's a part of Rhino that's like, he was a part of that movement that was going on in the late 90s, early 2000s with ECW, Attitude Era, WWE, and, the stuff they were doing, with me and my friends when we were all getting into wrestling. And then we kind of stumbled upon ECW, and the stuff they were doing was wild. And so there's so much about my youth and childhood that was inspired by a lot of the stuff he did, a lot of the backyard wrestling and some of the crazy stuff we would do. And so I have a lot of respect for him. Certainly want to honor him when he comes to town and treat him like the star that he is. So that's the one side of me. That's, kind of business, trying to promote this show. Uh, there's the other piece, and that's when the bell rings, and all I know to do with anybody that's in there is to, lock up, and I just got to give it everything I can. Obviously Rhino has a lot of accolades in professional wrestling. I'd be probably an idiot to say that I'm going to, out wrestle him or I'm going to outmaneuver him in that ring. I mean, he's so experienced, but what I'll be bringing is just a passion, a grit, and I've tried to really take whatever I'm dealing with in my real life and personal life and business life and always try to convert that to something in the ring. Do I have some aggression to let loose? Do I have some stress? What do I have that I can try to manifest inside this square? And a lot of people don't get that opportunity, to take their whatever they're dealing with every day and bottle it up and take it into the ring. And so, I'm prepared to look him in the face and tell him, the alpha has arrived. There can be only one, and give it all I've got. And my belief is I'm coming out of there with my hand raised, and that's what I have to say. And it's not disrespectfully. It's just when you're getting in there and you're fixing to do battle, you got to be betting on yourself when you're walking in there, and that's the type of mental preparation that I've been going through. A lot of physical stuff, making sure that my body feels right, that I'm right, and but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to that one moment, in there where you know there's going to be a Gore, there's going to be a Lincoln's Law, and whoever can get there first is probably walking out the winner. So um, that'll be my goal is to get there first.
Yeah, yeah, and people forget because there's a whole generation that got to see him on TV pretty regular. But for us growing up, especially in the South, we didn't get the ECW channel. Rhino was this guy when you opened a Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Here's this monster of a man holding a belt. Like, although I've seen his different incarnations,
It was like mythical almost.
yeah, yeah, him and both he and Taz, honestly, seeing them in those magazines and then having to like find a bootleg tape or something,
Yeah.
it is the idea of standing across from him is kind of scary in that
Yeah,
regard. Yeah,
it's like how they, I've heard people talk about Bo Jackson in a way that because Bo Jackson was doing unbelievable stuff before there was YouTube and before there were camera phones, and so what happened was the things that he could do became this like myth and legends. Like I heard, Bo Jackson jumped over three cars. I heard the stories compound and Rhino carried that similar mystique, as well. So yeah, we got my work cut out for me. There's no question about that.
oh yeah. Well, you get to do it in front of, in your hometown, in front of friends and family. So I know that'll be a good boost for you. But I mean, they're going to be cheering Rhino too because it's Rhino.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but before that, we kind of jumped the gun on March 8th. You have a tag match at Collision Course. How are you balancing this big match with Rhino, but then also this tag match with Bubba Cagle? You are fighting Watley and Uten. So, I mean, what are you doing for that? Just your normal regimen, or I mean, these guys are both incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think doing what I've done got me where I am. And so that's kind of been my mindset is to train like normal, eat like normal preparations for my body, getting ready for a match. You said it though, Brandon Watley and Cade Newton, they're multiple time champions at Pro South. Brandon Watley is a former New Era Open champion and a former New Era Tag champion. They're both extremely dangerous. Brandon's a martial artist. Cade Newton is about as physical of a person that you'll see in pro wrestling around here. If you watch him, just absolutely can be vicious at times. So, I think this came together really. Bubba is a close friend. He trained me. We've gotten to be really close over the years, and he and Watley have some business to settle. And then, Cade Newton and I, we were in the final three in the Resolution Rumble together, and I think it's safe to say that we've left a little something on the bone there, and I think it's a great way to get this out in front of our fans with me and Bubba tagging, and it'd be an honor to tag with him, my trainer and close friend. So yeah, we'll have our work cut out for us there too. Yeah, so
yeah.
it's not been an easy spring so far.
No, no, not at all. I don't know. The gore is devastating, but I also would not want Watley to kick me. Like, I don't think I could choose between the two. Those kicks are devastating.
They are, and
Big
yeah,
guy moving real fast.
big guy moving real fast, really strong, and then Cade Newton
Yep.
uses the loaded gun complex,
Mhm.
which for those that aren't familiar with it, similar to the Riptide that Rhea Ripley has, but Caden, you know, you feel that move. It's if that hits, it's over. And similar to what I said with Rhino, who can get their stuff first and who can count on their partner the most to be there when it matters. So we're really excited about that show. Excited about trying to get some direction on where I'm going to go after all this with being the number one contender for the New Era Open Championship as well.
Yeah, last I saw, they're still unable to get in touch with Cody.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is there. Cody, I was in a triple threat match with Cody in December, me and Cody Wyndham and Bubba Cagle, and triple threat for the New Era Open Championship. And I admitted it, I lost that match. I got caught not paying attention and he got me. And I admit that. Um, the price to pay for that was entering the Resolution Rumble #1, which I did. I paid the price, and I'm back now. And so I do expect him to show his face and, to honor his commitment. He's the champion and I'm the #1 contender. And so I expect my championship match in the very near future.
Yeah, and, we're kind of selling it short a little bit. I know it's been online, but the Resolution Rumble, you entered #1. I mean, tell us a little bit about, by the way, everyone, it premieres tomorrow on the YouTube channel, on New Era's YouTube channel. I mean, tell us about that a little bit more. Like it's one thing to be #1. I mean, the start of the match isn't necessarily the problem. For me, it would be like when number 17 comes out.
Right.
You still have all these people left.
Right. Well, I would love to be one of the guys that can cut a promo like, and talk about, how they're going to come out guns a-blazing and they're going to throw 19 other guys over the top rope. And, but I looked at it a little bit differently. I mean, sometimes you got to know who and what you are. And I know who and what I am. I'm 40 years old, and a lot of these guys wrestling right now are in their early 20s, mid 20s, and they can, take it to another level for a long period of time. So I know, for me, my advantage is my size and my power and to be able to get things over with quick, you know. So I knew opening that match against Caden was going to be a dogfight. It was going to, make it through those first 2 minutes, try to get him out, but survive, right? And then we had some really cool returns. Dawson Kimbrell, the Dynasty, returned, and that kind of took everybody by surprise. And I feel like, honestly, helped me in a sense because it kind of took the audience and both of us by surprise. And we kind of got a little rest while he was coming to the ring because we are trying to figure out where to go next. And then my brother Joe was the #4, and so there in the early goings of that match, I had kind of going for me the fact that there were two big surprise entrants, and that kind of just took a lot of things by surprise and it slowed things down a notch, I think. After that, it was just hang on because, you don't have to eliminate 19 other people. Get people say this all the time when Royal Rumble season. I'm going to throw, I got to get 29 other people out of this ring. No, I just have to get the last one out, and that strategy really kind of paid off. I was, in the end there, I think Aiden Andrews was the last entrant or next to last. And Aiden's a excellent competitor, really, really strong guy, really fast, really flexible, can do anything in the ring. And so, that was concerning having still Caden in there, who's so vicious, and then having Aiden Andrews come in there fresh. And if you watch back the last 2 minutes, I'm trying to fight him off, and he comes from the corner with his running knee and just, knocks me out on my feet pretty much. The moments that came after that when they tried to dump me and I was able to pull them over. You talk about just finding everything you got, for a moment, for that moment you've been waiting for since you were a kid playing No Mercy on the 64, right? You know what I mean? That's where you dream about, and that's what that was, and got them out and that was it. And I won't lie, I don't play games, it was a week or 10 days before I felt like myself again after that match. It took some time I think it was about 45, 47 minutes in there. So really grateful to have that opportunity that the strategy paid off, the hard work paid off. And now, and for all my troubles, I get rewarded. I'm staring down the barrel at Brandon Watley and Cade Newton, Rhyno and Cody Wyndham somewhere in the near future. But this is what I signed up for, these moments. And so I welcome it.
Yeah. The first time I ever saw Caden Newton, he did the loaded gun complex to your brother, who, depending on the day, ranges from 275 to 300 pounds. And he did it with ease. And I believe I don't know him personally, but I believe he's a pretty young guy. Like when you just said video games on the N64, he might not even know what that is.
He may not, but he's young, and what makes him so dangerous though is that he is young. He's
Mm.
extremely well trained. Um, he was a standout on Piedmont High School football team. I think they won a couple state championships. So he's extremely strong. He's been training his body for years, but he's been under he was trained by Ace Haven, and he's been training for a long time. So, a lot of times you can look at these young guys that are young and strong, and you can kind of lean on your experience. And that doesn't get you much with him because he's got it, he's got it too. He's very well trained. So he's a very capable um, opponent, and somebody that you got to be right mindset going in there with him, because you get hurt if you don't.
Well, I got a few names here. Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, Edge, Rhea Ripley, and I always throw Rey Mysterio in there too, because what's the difference between being in there first and second?
Right.
I mean, you know what they all have in common,
I
and
do.
you can put your name on there too.
Yeah, and I will, and I'll take
Yep.
credit for that. And I think I updated my Twitter bio to have that. And it's not to be, it's not about bragging or holding on to past accomplishments and not looking ahead or keeping your eyes on the prize. It's just I really want it for my sons. I want them to know that that you can do really hard things sometimes. And at the end of the day, man, I am proud of it. What I'm saying, it's been 5 years I've been in pro wrestling, and to have that moment is something you dream about, and it was very special for me. And so I'll gladly put my name on the list. I usually don't talk about myself like that, but I think I'll take it.
Yeah, you should. You should. And I mean, you just mentioned 5 years, and you've been with New Era while they've done a little bit of expansion. The hub being in Jasper, the shows in Hoover, now in Tuscaloosa. But I'd be remiss not to talk about the shows in Birmingham at Comic Con. It's all hard not to say Comic Con, but Comic
Right.
Con. You
Yeah,
know, that was I think that was the largest crowd up until that point, because I've seen you with larger crowds now that I've ever seen you wrestle in front of, and
yeah,
it's an incredible experience to watch you do it. But I mean, what we're talking that was, close to 100 people, definitely and you also had the people walking through. That was a big show,
yeah,
and every time y'all did it,
yeah. Every time we got to go there, that was great. I mean, the first CamiCon I did, Cameron Keith and I defended our tag titles against the Butterflies, Fabu and Tony Donati, and that Saturday night, see, that was a big. I think we had close to 800 people there, and that was, you know, don't really, I can't imagine what it would be like to be in front of 10 or 15,000, because when I got up in the turnbuckle to do my deal during my entrance, and you look out and you see, I mean, that was overwhelming and really exciting to see that. And also to have probably my top three matches of all time is one of them. That match is in there somewhere. So yeah, those are very special to me.
yeah. Yeah, you had a really good streak there, if I remember correctly. And I mean, big crowd streak. I mean,
Yep, it
I
was
love
great.
that. So it's been a very loaded 5 years. We were on the Joe Gaither show in Tuscaloosa. It's a big deal, especially in that area, podcast, radio. I noticed you said Tuscaloosa is your hometown, and it sat with me a certain way at first because we grew up together. I
Right.
didn't grow up in Tuscaloosa, but here's where I landed on that. Alexander Lincoln's hometown is Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
That's right.
It's your home now, but there was no Alexander Lincoln before Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So that is
No,
I admire that's his hometown. Your
yeah,
hometown now, definitely.
it definitely is. I love Tuscaloosa. And we could do a whole other episode on this topic, but from the moment I got here, my life changed in a radical way, from the way it used to be. And that was 2004. And, so now when people ask me, I say, that's my hometown. It's where I'm from. It's where I live. And I've been here a long time now, 20 something years. And so it's where I had met my wife, started my business. have my children, and so it's not meant to be offensive to the city I was born in. It's just the way I feel. It's just different.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. But hearing that, it caught me for a second. But I'm like, no, that is Alexander Lincoln's hometown. It absolutely is. And I hate to, kind of, and I don't think this will be a downer, but I did want to mention that, longtime New Era fan Peanut passed away, and my first show was coming to watch you there, and he yeah, he was probably the first person I noticed.
Sure.
I mean, he was dedicated, not knowing
Yeah.
not knowing everyone. I knew some of the Pro South guys, and then there had been some crossover with some New South guys in the past too. But he's the reason I knew who to cheer and who to boo initially.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was, but what do you think Peanut meant to New Era?
Well, I mean, he was there for every show, and obviously hasn't been there for a while. And there was a lot of, I can't say I knew him personally.
Yeah.
Obviously he
Yeah.
cheered me on, and he always cheered for me in my matches, and he always shook my hand after it, win or lose or draw, whatever. Um, no, I think he meant a lot to it. When you get that fan interaction, I've always told people that, I just, when you come to a show, I want you to cheer, to boo, to laugh, to do something, you know, do something, get whatever emotion you need to feel like you need to get for what the price of the ticket is, get that, and then we've had a good show. And so, Peanut definitely got his money's worth. And I know that his absence will be felt. There's no question about it. And maybe somebody will pick up the mantle moving forward. But I was really sorry to hear that he passed, and I hate that I didn't really know about his health or whatever was going on. That I could have said something or sent something, and so I am sorry to hear that. And hopefully, maybe get to meet some of his family or something like that down the road.
Gotcha. Well, you got a big few months coming up.
Yes,
Again,
sir.
Rhino, Uten, Watley, and then hopefully Wyndham responds soon. I mean, you earned it, man.
Yep, we're going to put some pressure on, I think, because it's time, and I earned it, and I want what I earned.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I thank you for your time
Yes,
coming
sir.
out. I'm rooting for you. The brother feud was a whole thing. I know it tore our whole friend group apart, but I'm glad that although you aren't necessarily talking, that there's at least some consistency now because it was a mess. So
Right. Well, I appreciate you and giving me the platform to, this is a great way to reach fans in a way that you can't necessarily, when you're right after a match or doing an entrance or something. So it's a way that, maybe they can get a little bit more insight into who we are. So
yep.
I appreciate it, and hopefully we can do it again.
All right, we will do.